Here's a simple guide that covers everything you need to know as a new player in STALZONE, from understanding the game's most basic mechanics to becoming a farming machine, so hopefully you can thrive and not just survive. The game has improved a lot in terms of new player experience. There's a brand new tutorial to do at the beginning, what you're watching me doing right now, that will help you get familiar with the most basic mechanics. There's now full guides and a codex with entries covering every aspect of the game that you can check at any time in the main menu, so keep that in mind when something is confusing. But despite all of this, the early experience can still be a bit overwhelming, with a lot of hidden or not so obvious mechanics, so let's go over everything together. Honestly, even if you're somewhat experienced with the game already, I can guarantee you will learn some stuff you had no idea about later in the video. But let's start with the basics. First, at the end of the tutorial, you will have to choose a side, stalkers or bandits, and this pick will decide which factions you can join later in the game. It looks like a very important decision you have to make right from the start with little information, but don't sweat it. Overall, it's not really important. In terms of gameplay, both choices are exactly the same. The difference mainly comes from where on the map you will play. It's an open world, so you're free to go wherever you want, but bandits will mostly play on their side of the map and in their specific farming locations, and same for stalkers. That's it, pretty much. This and some small faction gear differences in the late game, it's really nothing to worry about. If you like the game, you will very likely create a new character at some point to play the other faction and see how things are going on their side, so really just pick whatever you feel like. I picked bandits, so we're gonna see the bandit side in this video, but again, everything we're gonna talk about is the same for everyone. We all start in the swamps in our faction base, and the first missions you will have to do will finish teaching you the very basic mechanics of the game, how to use traders, buy your first consumables, how to barter your first weapon and backpack, use your first attachments for weapons. The game does a very good job at explaining these very basic things, so I'm not gonna cover them again here, just pay attention. If you have a welcome bonus promo code, here is the best time to use it, and shameless plug, you should use mine if you don't have one. It's going to give you some pretty useful gear and bonus items to get started and make the beginning of the game much smoother. Right now the new season is in full swing with a lot of new events to do, especially to make the experience for new players more fun and rewarding, so if you're thinking about giving the game a chance, it's actually the perfect time. The main advice I have for the early game is do yourself a favor and do all the side missions. Gold markers are the main quest line, purple ones are the side missions, because all these extra quests are not just cool optional things to do in the game. They will give you a lot of resources, free weapons, free armors, and a ton of really useful gear to help you progress. A lot of them are pretty interesting and worth doing in terms of story, so it's a win-win situation. I can tell you something that's true for every single STALZONE player. It will take you around 40 hours, give or take, to finish the main questline and reach the north of the zone, where the endgame begins, and you will spend pretty much an infinite amount of time in the endgame, but every player cherishes and looks back fondly on these first 40 hours. So take your time, enjoy it. The game is a marathon anyways, not a sprint. Okay, now let's actually get started on everything you need to know. You have a personal stash where you will be able to store all your loot. You get an extra tab every time you max out your experience in one of the different faction bases. It will pretty much happen naturally if you do all the missions like I just recommended, so it's another good reason to do it. Some places have this big safe to access the stash, some don't, but you can open your personal stash from anywhere in the base right here. The only places without personal stash access are the Digger Hut in Colossus Agro Complex for bandits and Digger Plot in Black Willows for stalkers. The minimap that you can zoom in and out with the plus and minus keys on your keyboard has a proximity radar built into it. If someone comes into a radius of 60 meters around you, you will hear a ping, just like that. And it will show you how many people are close. You do not know if it's an ally or an enemy, just that someone is around. So start being very careful and stay on your guard as soon as you hear that ping until you can identify if it's a threat or not. For example here, I'm deep into enemy territory being a rat. I just got a ping, probably an enemy farming some mutants. If I got the ping, it means he got the ping too. And if I was him, I wouldn't start any mutant camps before knowing who's around me. Okay, he started the camp anyway, time to teach a lesson. Okay, I completely whiffed that, but the mutants finished the job. You get it. You need to have some basic survival instincts in this game, or it will teach you the hard way. Let's reverse the situation. For example, here I'm in the middle of the map, not necessarily in a dangerous area. I hear a ping in the middle of doing a camp. I disengage immediately until I know who's getting close. You do not want to get sandwiched between NPCs and a player coming to shoot you in the back. Okay, it turns out he was just a clueless guy doing some missions, so let's use his dead body to talk about items and inventory, so he didn't die in vain. There are 4 categories of items, and it's really important to know the difference between them so you don't lose some precious loot by accident. Everything with a lock is a bound item. You can't lose it, sell it, drop it, it's all your gear, quest items, they're completely safe. Items that have a shield also do not drop when you die, but they can be traded or exchanged. That's what makes ammo and medicine pouches really good. For example, you keep a pouch in your inventory and you take some ammo out of it little by little just when you need it. And if you get killed, you don't lose the pouch, only the couple rounds of ammo you took out. Then you have all the items with this link, chain kind of thing. These are mainly all the barter resources, what you farm on enemy camps to exchange at the trader for better weapons and armors. These gets packaged into your backpack when you get killed. The enemy can then steal your backpack, but he won't be able to use these resources directly. He can only send you back the backpack, put it on sale on the auction house, or throw it in a ditch if he's a douche. I personally leave the backpack on the body, or if I loot it by accident, I send it back to the player through the mailing system. I'm not telling you what to do, but I like to treat others the way I wish they would treat me, even if it's not always the case. And all the items that have no specific icon, they're free for the taking. People can steal them, use them, sell them. These ones are definitely gone. I mean, they're lost if you get looted, your body will get marked on the map. It's always worth it going back and checking if it's not too far, you never know. Most items in your inventory, you can hover them and press a number on your keyboard to add them to the quick access wheel. Then you keep C pressed by default, you can change this in the options if you want to open the wheel. And here you can add pretty much anything you want for quick access. It's probably one of the most useful quality of life tools in the game, so don't sleep on it. Early game, you're mainly going to use it to open pouches, for example, so you don't have to go to your inventory and do everything manually by clicking on everything. We're gonna talk about plates and consumables right after, but you can use them directly from the wheel. It will let you apply bandages very quickly, which is really important, as some snipers will make you bleed a ton when hit, for example, and you have to react very quickly. And then you can go crazy. You can add extra weapons you keep in your inventory to switch to them quickly, and even different backpacks or containers if you want. So yeah, the quick access wheel is a must-use feature and it will make you much more efficient. Actually, let's talk about plates while we are on the subject. So these are inserts you can add to most armors to get extra bullet protection. There's 3 kinds of plates. The steel plates that are for early game PvE activities only. They're very durable but won't absorb that much damage. You will quickly replace them by the composite plates, which offer much better resistance and can still absorb a good chunk of damage before breaking. Each type of plate has 5 levels of quality, and the higher the more damage they absorb, 5 being the best. And then you have the ceramic, which are the PvP plates. They break very fast, but they will absorb a lot of damage. Generally, you will play with a composite plate on you at all times and keep a couple ceramics in your inventory. And as soon as you hear a ping that's a bit suspicious, or you know you're getting into a fight soon, you switch to your PvP plate. And this is a good example of how good and efficient the quick wheel is. No need to go in your inventory to do all that manually. The game has a lot of consumables, different drinks, foods and boosts you can use. They will give you an edge in fights with extra bullet resistance, extra healing, bleeding protection, or just make your life easier in general when you're doing PvE activities with extra stamina, more move speed, more carry weight, and so on. I'm not gonna go over every single one of them, there's way too many. The only thing you have to know is that there are 4 categories: mobility, enhancement, short-term boost, and protection. You can have one of each active at the same time, so you can stack 4 consumables total. If you use 2 of the same type together, the best one will override the other one. You can check everything in details in the effects tabs in your inventory. Always use consumables. Even the very cheap ones you get from the early game are nice quality of life bonuses, and the more you progress, the stronger they will get. I'm kinda cheap, so don't take this as ground truth, but I'm gonna show you what one of my basic loadouts looks like when I go out of the base. I'm doing this because I've seen way too many people with insane loadouts. I have 2 pouches of my main weapon ammo and 2 stacks of loose rounds, 1 pouch, 1 stack for my secondary weapon, generally a shotgun for mutants, 1 pouch of medkits, 5 medkits, 5 bandages, 1 extra composite plate because I'm gonna go farming, and 1 PvP plate just in case. 1 or 2 injectors. If you get downed by an enemy, injectors will let you revive instead of, well, waiting to die. Early game they're a bit expensive, but very quickly get into the habit of having a couple on you at all times. They're a giant time saver if you mess up, and they will get you out of bad situations all the time. And then I just pop 1 food item before leaving the base, generally some cheap move speed stamina thing, and that's it pretty much. If I have to do a delivery or a specific task, I will get some extra boosts and energy drinks. If I know I'm gonna fight, I might get some bleeding protection and so on. But my point is, I see a lot of people going out in the wild with enough items on them to start World War III, and this is too much. You're just giving free loot to the enemy at this point. And remember that the more you carry, the slower you get and the faster your stamina gets depleted. So please do short runs when you go farming. You have to see yourself as a pinata that's growing bigger and bigger the longer you stay outside, and at some point you're too fat and juicy and you really need to go home. Generally there's a point when you're farming, you're in the zone, everything's going well, then you open your inventory, you look at all the loot, and you're like, if I get killed right now and lose all that, I'm gonna be upset. You need to recognize that feeling, this line you cross mentally where losing your loot is going to be painful. It's going to be slightly different for everyone, we all have different levels of risk tolerance, but everyone knows that feeling. And when you have that feeling, it means you should have went back to base probably 10 minutes ago. You need to learn to do this, and the game will become immensely more enjoyable and way less frustrating when you get killed. That's the reason I just pop a food boost in the base before leaving, and I don't take more with me. The food boost will last 30 minutes, I kinda use it as a timer, and you can be damn sure I will be back at base before the end of these 30 minutes. Don't forget also that you have access to stashes, they're cheap, they're easy to use. If you're farming and you really don't want to risk losing any important loot, just stash it. I do this all the time, I hide my important stuff. If I get killed, I don't lose anything valuable, and when things get quiet or I have a friend to help, I bring everything back to base safely. And it's a bit unrelated, but I'm just thinking about it, all the melee weapons have a pretty significant speed boost. Always have it equipped when you're running around somewhere to get free movement speed. It's literally a free extra boost that stacks on top of everything else. Most of the activities you do in the wild are pretty straightforward, killing mutants, killing NPCs, looting them, but some can be a bit more confusing, so let me go over the main ones. Don't forget the mission board first, there's one in every base except the swamps, and you should do every single one of these missions every time you can. Don't forget also to always grab a backpack to deliver in the location you're going, there's an NPC for every base, except the swamps, again. If you have to go somewhere, always grab a matching backpack to deliver at the same time, it's literally free missions. And one of the first new activity you will start doing is caches. You will get a metal detector during the main questline, and you need to find buried caches that can only be found in specific areas. You will be doing caches a lot after that, because outside of missions they will give you specific barter items you need for upgrades. There's a map available on the wiki that will show you where you can find caches. It's extremely useful, I recommend checking it out, putting some markers in-game for you to know where the good spots are, and when you're familiar with them, you can remove them. It will save you a lot of time running around waiting for the sound of your detector to tell you what are the good spots. This way you can know immediately. Next are signals that require the wide range detector and the candle. Again, you will get all of this during the main questline. By the way, what you can see here is the quick access wheel for devices. By default, you open it by keeping X pressed. It will let you equip any of your devices that are sitting in your inventory, which is a giant time saver. It's like a second quick access wheel, but for devices. So for signals, you fire up your wide range detector and you check if the light is beeping. If there's nothing, well, there's nothing around. If it's beeping slow, it means there's a signal a bit far from you, and if it beeps fast, it means it's strong and close. Then here you choose what search you want to do. Technically, if the light is beeping fast, the signal is close, so you can do a short scan because it uses less batteries, but a scan takes a long time no matter what, and when it fails, it's very annoying. Personally, I never use the short range option, I only do middle scans, so I'm sure I'm gonna find the signal no matter what. You start the scan, it will lock on the signal, and you click search. Then you take your candle, and it will show you more or less in which direction the signal is. That's it, pretty much. Signals give different types of trackers depending on the area you're in. It's a special barter resource to exchange for better detectors and special gear. Sometimes a signal will open a teleport bubble. That's like a mini dungeon to do. Kill all the enemies in it and you get a bigger reward than what a regular signal would give you. Some of them are pretty hard. It could be previous bosses you fought, very tough NPCs. If you die in a dungeon, you will not be able to come back and loot your body. Your loot is gone. So if it's a dungeon you're not familiar with and you have a lot of stuff on you, don't risk it. There's always a bubble at the beginning to leave immediately if you jump inside by mistake. Then you have the proto-anomalies. They are pretty straightforward. You stay in the area dodging the bubbles until it's done and you get your reward. For the anomaly installation defenses, you need to buy this item at the trader. You install it, it will spawn a wave of mutants, you kill them before they destroy the installation, and you're good to go. As long as you have a decent shotgun, it's a very easy thing to do. Every type of activity will give you specific barter resources. If you're not sure what type you will get, you can see it on the map by hovering any camp and it will tell you. Let's talk about gear in general and matchmaking. I'm not going to tell you this is the best armor, this is the best weapons, it's kinda dumb. Everything is viable anyway. And you're starting the game, things are cheap and easy to farm, so experiment, see what you like and just enjoy the game. Save the meta builds, theory crafting and min-maxing calculation for the endgame. You just need to know a couple basic rules, so here they are. There are 3 types of armor: combat, combo and scientist. Combat is obviously for PvP, Scientist is to be able to go into anomalies and specific areas that require high resistances, and combos are the perfect in-between. You will spend most of your time farming and doing activities in a combo, because they're the most versatile, so that's what you should focus on first. You will get the Mockingbird from missions pretty early, and honestly you can do the whole storyline until the north with it with no issues. A good shotgun and whatever main weapon you like and you're good to go. When you get into environmentally hazardous places, you will have a warning on the bottom right of the screen telling you how much protection you need to be there without taking damage. If it says thermal 3, for example, you need at least 300 thermal protection. I have 395 right now, so I'm fine. This is a hard threshold though. If I walk into a thermal 4 zone, which would require 400 protection, I'm not protected at all. Even though I'm very close with 395 protection, I start burning very quickly. Either you have enough or you die. There's not really any middle ground. There's a couple consumables that can help if you need to go into some spicy areas quickly for some missions. Having some antidote on you is always smart, so walking by accident into an anomaly is not immediately a death sentence, but it will never replace a proper science suit. Early on, get a backpack, it will make your life much easier to carry loot around. I always get the 3-zip because I'm a loot goblin, but the pouch that you can turn into a utility vest later is very good too. When you start getting artifacts, you can start looking into containers, but early game, go with backpack, always. Overall, you will do the south of the zone in green newbie gear, then you will do the bar and linked areas in blue stalker gear, and when you choose your faction and reach the north, you will start using the pink veteran gear. It's very important to stick to these levels of gear in these areas. You might get some super cool veteran or master gear early through the battle pass, or if you're lucky opening a loot box. Do not equip it at the beginning of the game. As soon as you leave the safe zone with higher level gear, you will start getting matched against players with this same level of gear, and there's no going back. I'm going to take an extreme example, but if you're in green newbie gear and you go out with a veteran weapon, for example, it's over. You will be matched against full veteran players from now on, and you're absolutely fucked. And again, there's no going back. You will never have access to lower tier lobbies ever again on this character. Do not make that mistake and only start using higher level gear when you have every piece of equipment at that level. You can upgrade weapons and armors up to plus 15 levels of bonuses. It increases the base stats and it's very useful. From 0 to 5 you use white parts and tools, from 5 to 10 green and 10 to 15 orange. You can fail the upgrades and this will damage the weapon, and you will have to restore its durability first with special tools and then you repair it like you normally do. My general advice is to not upgrade anything until veteran gear. Anything before that is a waste. You're not going to use this gear long enough. The only reason you would upgrade something before veteran gear is if you already know you will go all the way down a specific crafting route, as the upgrades carry over when you jump to the next tier of equipment, so it's not lost. But don't upgrade, I don't know, your blue shotgun you got in a quest reward you will never touch again in a couple hours. Upgrading your gear will also raise your matchmaking level, so be careful not to go too crazy too quickly with it. I personally upgrade everything to plus 5 when I'm in veteran gear, and I stay there for a very long time. Going over plus 10 might bump you to pre-master level lobbies, so be careful. Only do it if you're ready for it. One thing that does not affect matchmaking though, and here you can go crazy if you want, is the attachments. You can right-click info on any weapon to see all the attachments that are available, but the best way is to go to the trader, find your weapon, and you right-click on it. And here you can actually see everything that's available for it. It's a much better way to visualize what you can use. And yes, even having red master attachments on your weapon at lower levels is fine. It won't raise your matchmaking score. Let's talk quickly about artifacts. Artifacts are a huge, super interesting rabbit hole. I'm just going to talk about the base mechanics of how they work right now. I'm working on a big video on artifact builds that will come out next week, so stay tuned if you want a real deep dive on them. Basically, every eruption, the zone gets very angry, and 30 minutes after the eruption, a lot of artifacts will spawn around anomalies, and at a lower rate for the next 60 minutes, so 90 minutes total. Technically, you don't need a detector to find artifacts, but if you want to do some serious artifact hunting, and you should because it's one of the best ways to make money, you can trade one at your faction base for signal rewards, and the beluga is pretty cheap, so don't even hesitate and get it as soon as you get north. It will also make doing signals much easier and faster. You press V by default to switch it to artifact finding mode. You will see the green square to tell you it's now looking for artifacts, and you're good to go. They will appear as small red dots on the screen. The detector uses batteries very quickly, so you won't be doing this right from the start, but after you do a couple artifact hunting runs and you start knowing more or less where the anomalies are, where most of the artifact spawns, you need to get into the habit of putting back your detector in your belt as soon as you finished scanning an interesting area, and only take it out when you reach the next place to scan. You will generally compete with a lot of other players, so being efficient and not having to go back to base to charge batteries because you kept it in your hand at all time is very important. Artifacts you just collected after an emission are fresh. You can see it with the little clock icon they have. It means that if you sell them to the fence, they will have more value, and if you use them for fission to refill your energy, they will also give more. You should obviously sell all the valuable artifacts you find on the auction house, not at the trader, to potentially get much more money out of them. It's going to be a long process at the beginning to learn the prices, but after regularly checking how much they're worth on the auction house, you will learn more or less what has value or not. And you can of course keep the good ones for yourself and start working on a good artifact build to play with. I'm not going to go into the artifact builds here. Again, like I said, there's way too much to cover, and I will have a video dedicated it to this soon. You just need to know that all backpacks and containers have an efficiency rating. That's how effective your artifacts will be in them. When you do a build, lots of artifacts have negative properties like radiation, temperature, biological infection. The max you can have of a negative property is 0.5, and 1 for frost, that's the exception. After that, you will start getting some damage. So you need to play around to balance this out, matching artifacts with strong negative properties with other that cancel them to end up with a viable build. Playing with artifacts will slowly drain their energy, and you will have to refill them at the scientist regularly. By the way, you don't have to refill them one by one, you can just dump your whole backpack and refill everything in one go. You can either use energy to refill them or pay money. You get energy with fission by fusing proto-artifacts, batteries, or straight up other artifacts. I like paying money to refill them at the beginning because it doesn't upgrade them accidentally, so it doesn't threaten my matchmaking. Because yeah, having high level artifacts will bump you up in matchmaking. They can be upgraded to plus 15, just like the rest of your gear, and just like your gear, you should only do that for the ones you know you will keep and play for a while with, because it's a very expensive process. They will become stronger, they will unlock new properties. I highly recommend the artifact build calculator on the wiki to experiment with them and different builds you can do, and there's a full guide on the STALZONE HQ to really understand how they work and what you can do with them, all the consumables you can use, because we're getting out of scope of this pure beginner video that's getting way too long already. So yeah, I'm not doing a deep dive on artifacts here. But that's a good opportunity to talk about all the external resources you have for the game. So the wiki first, that has a lot of interesting tools to really understand the game mechanics. The artifact build calculator I just talked about being the main one. You have STALZONE HQ that has a ton of interesting features to find players, see statistics, and more importantly has a very good TTK calculator. If you want to nerd out and compare all the weapons and their performance, that's the way to do it. There's also a lot of community guides if you want to see deep dives on specific subjects like consumables and more. I will leave all the links in the video description. I need to talk quickly about trade packs because that's a huge quality of life mechanic. At any merchant, you can go to manage packs, and here you can build a starter loadout. What type of ammo, medicine, boosts, whatever you want depending on the gear you use, you can create a lot of different packs, name them and save them. Then anywhere in the base you press T and you can buy directly the loadouts you prepared. Make sure use resources from personal storage and buy missing items only are turned on, so it will take everything you have in your stash first and only buy what's necessary. With this, basically in 2 clicks you're ready to go. No need to painfully search and equip all the items you want one by one every time. It's especially useful if you got killed and you really want to get back in the field very quickly. And let me finish with some basic advice on how to make money. I talked about artifacts already that are by far the number one, but realistically you will only start artifact hunting up north. So first, until you reach the bar, don't even think about making money. Just cap your experience in every base in the south, do all the missions, that's enough already. When you reach the bar, you can start actually making some good money. It's nothing compared to what you will do later in the north, but it starts getting interesting. Signals are pretty good because you can get blueprints and relay stations in them that sell for a good chunk of money, and you farm very important resources for yourself at the same time. Protos and anomaly installations are great to get proto artifacts and all the corresponding crafting materials that you can sell in bulk on the auction house on top of the data blocks. Basically, all these packs of barter resources you have a chance to drop when you do any activity are worth a good chunk of money, so always sell them on the auction house. And starting at the bar and the connected levels, especially Dead City for bandits and the graveyard for stalkers, what you find in all the boxes in the world starts getting really interesting. A lot of good food, good boosts that you can either sell in bulk or keep for yourself so you don't have to buy them, a lot of good ammo, crafting materials, and general junk you can sell directly. I think a lot of people sleep on this, but the money you save by looting everything you need instead of straight up buying it really adds up. I'm of course sticking to the very basic things. I'm not going to talk about flipping stuff on the auction house, what to buy and resell with season points, artifact hunting, and all the north activities. This deserves a video on its own. But I just want you to keep in mind that just being efficient will not make you rich instantly, but really comfortable in the long term. If you made it this far, congratulations. Here's some last advice I remembered while I was writing the video and wasn't sure exactly where to put it. The polyhedron is an amazing artifact that will protect you if you get hit by a huge damage spike, like a heavy sniper shot, for example. It will prevent you from getting one-shotted all the time and is extremely useful for the final boss fight. I have one on me pretty much at all times and you should do the same. You will get a clan voucher when finishing the main campaign that gives you a free veteran tier armor. Don't forget to use it and buy whatever armor category you're missing. I don't have a combat armor, for example, so personally I'm getting the Legionnaire with it. Be careful not to sell crafting items when you come back from a run and dump everything at the trader. Some can be sold at very good prices in bulk at the auction house, or it will be super useful if you want to start a hideout and do some crafting yourself later. You have a sell junk button that does a pretty good job at it actually, so if you don't want to go through the trouble of checking everything, just use this. It will let through some arsenal stuff, but it's late game things. You will know when you get there. By the way, as soon as you reach the north, you will get a hideout. I'm not going to go into all the crafting in this video, that's a huge rabbit hole too. Just keep in mind that you have access to everything from your hideout. If you need an attachment you're missing that's only sold really far down south, for example, you don't have to go back there, you can just get it from your hideout. Okay, I think that's enough for now. That's already a lot of information, and this should be everything you need to know to get started comfortably. There is so much more to talk about when you reach the north, all the new activities, the maps that unlock, the different game modes you can play, maybe in a future video. I hope all of this will help you get started and will make your experience easier, that's the most important thing. Don't forget to use my promo code if you're a new player to get some extra goodies, and I'll see you in the zone.